Okay.
Hi, everybody. This is Ashley Boyd again. So this is Kristina Bloom. Kristina, can you please let people know who you are and what you do? Because I'm super excited for this.
Okay. Well, I am a reverend and a co-minister, I guess, of Universal Awareness Fellowship. I am a professional psychic, metaphysical teacher. I run retreats, spiritual retreats, self-help retreats, speaker, author. I do a lot of fun stuff.
You dabble in it all.
Yes.
I will get there someday. So tell me, how did you go from, because some people might not understand like the metaphysical along with being a reverend. Some people don't get that connection. I think that's awesome that you do. So how did you get there?
Well, I've always been psychic. That was determined when I was a very young child and I had prophetic dreams. And as I grew, I rejected religion. I went through a lot of stuff, and I don't consider myself religious. I'm a spiritual minister. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a particular religion, so to speak. The Universal Awareness Fellowship is a spiritual center, tax classified as a church. How does that sound? So it all works together, though, because we provide a space for people who don't have a space, who don't necessarily want to belong to a specific church, but also do want the fellowship of an organization. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, I say that I'm not religious. I believe in the universe, but right. My best friend believes in God, but she believes in the universe. So she's like, it just all means the same thing. It's just a different word.
I agree. I agree completely. Whatever you want to call it, yep. Something controls seasons and when things grow, and there's a certain order to the universe. Something is in charge of that. I don't claim to know what that something is.
That's so true. That's a great way of putting that. Something is controlling it. Something is putting it in a hierarchy. It's very true. So tell me, you said that you knew from as a child that you were psychic. How did you continue to embrace that? Because a lot of people begin to hide those abilities in fear of not wanting others to so they don't feel comfortable with themselves, I guess is the best way to put it. So how did you just continue to use your abilities?
Well, I didn't. There was a span of time. I think it was in 7th grade, someone pointed out that I shouldn't know things that I knew. Mm-hmm. And up to that point, I knew things that people didn't have to tell me, but I thought everybody did. So I didn't see myself as different because I saw everyone else like me until someone pointed out to me that wasn't necessarily the case. Then I became self-conscious about it, like all the way through high school and even into my early 20s. And at 18, I was diagnosed with cancer and went through that whole journey without going through the chemo and radiation. So that's when I learned to really start dealing with natural ways of healing, meditation, and really getting in touch with who I was again. And at that point, I started re-embracing it.
That's amazing. Oh, I have goosebumps everywhere because people don't necessarily understand that you can heal your insides from the inside out, like meaning with with a dis-ease. And right now I'm teaching some of my clients about like keeping your body homeostatic with making sure your electrolytes are good, what you're ingesting is great, like higher vibration, like sort of techniques along with water and all kinds of things of being able to heal. Like I know that a lot of people have seen the movie The Secret and they've heard those sort of terms of like your vibration and stuff, but I bring up The Secret because of the laughter. I never realized the power of laughter until hearing or seeing that movie. And my mom got cancer and she used the power of laughter and really changed her insides. So I think that's amazing. And you being so young, how did you discover that you had the knowledge to change your diagnoses of cancer?
I didn't. I just decided that I was I was really vain. And at the time I was modeling. That was my job. And I knew that if I did chemo, I would lose my hair, I would not look good, and then I would lose my job. So I just decided I was going to beat it or succumb to it either way without poisoning myself.
That's awesome.
That's the truth.
I think that is hilarious. Well, I was vain, and so I had to fix it.
Yep, exactly.
I love it. But it's so true. I mean, some people automatically jump to the stereotypical medication, and you don't necessarily have to do that. I'm not saying like you might not have an adjunct of it, but the mind-body connection is so strong. I mean, it's literally the strongest thing possible. People just don't understand that they can actually like use it as like a power tool.
Exactly.
So how do you really use your psychic abilities now? Like, do you have any tips or tricks for people who are newer at learning how to re-embrace themselves, to really start to learn to hone in on their skills?
Oddly enough, I have an entire program written for that. It's called Intuitive You. And I've been teaching it for about 10 years. Someone called me, like a friend of a friend called me about 10 years ago and said, I need to learn to talk to someone who's crossed over, and I think you're the one to teach me. Now, at the time, I didn't feel qualified to do that. So I opened my mouth to say, I don't really feel qualified to do that. Let me find you someone else. That was my intention, but yes came out, and here we are. So there are now, let me see, 7, I believe, who are trained to teach my program. 4 in Washington State and 3 in Wisconsin. And it just keeps growing and growing. But there is a whole system around it, and it really starts with getting comfortable with your own energy and really learning how to identify your own energy and how to control your own energy before trying to connect with someone else and help them.
That makes total sense.
It did to me too. And that whole program is channeled lesson by lesson. Like I set it up initially as a 5-week program. And every week I would just sit down with my notebook and say, okay, spirit guides, what do they need to know this week? And just started writing. And that's how the whole program came to be.
Oh, cool. I love it. I think that it's just a brilliant thing to say, get in tune with yourself before you deal with anybody else, because as an empath, was bombarded with everybody else's energy and I didn't know what to do with it. So that's why mastering your own self before you dabble in others, I think is a huge, huge thing, because then you don't become, like, for lack of a better term, you don't become clogged.
Right. And you also learn what your filters are, because I've seen a lot of professional psychics who are good psychics, but they don't know when their filters are taking over and skewing information that's coming through. And that's part of what we cover in this program too, is to be really, really aware of yourself and really aware of the filters that you carry with you, because that's so important. You know, otherwise you can just be giving people your opinion and not realize that you're doing that.
That is such an amazing point. Filter. Bias, filter, same thing.
Yep.
That's such a good point of not putting your own information out on it. Like, you need to become like you're the telephone line, not necessarily the telephone interpreting it.
Right.
That's such a good point. Because I mean, as I'm learning by talking to all of the guest speakers, it's just so amazing how everybody has something different to say about the same questions. It's just so interesting, because some people say you just need to be okay with yourself. Some people say, well, if you can ask questions of others and receive their information, then you can interpret it for somebody else. But I am very much in alignment with how you say you need to be good with yourself, so you're not like giving judgment when you're talking to somebody else. Right.
I recently did a channeling where Christ came through in the channeling, and there was someone in the audience who was struggling with a decision that a family member had made. And Christ just kept repeating gently and confidently that Judgment is causing your discomfort. Stop judging and your discomfort will stop. Judgment is causing the problem here. And so I think it's really interesting that we all come from a place of judgment. I mean, I catch myself all the time, thinking judgmental thoughts. Fortunately, most of them don't get out of my mouth, but I'm still thinking them. And I know that those thoughts, if they're causing me discomfort or they're causing me to be upset or angry or hurt, it's my own judgment that's causing it. No one else is doing that to me.
That's such a good point too, because we're always so in our heads that if we're able to really like put a stop to, I guess, the naysaying going on in there, that
Right.
we can really learn to help other people instead of like, not just judge them, but like use our own, like the negativity from that judgment to help them. Instead, it would be something positive for them.
Right.
Well, please let people know where they can find you so they can find this program. I think that would be amazing for some people who need this source in their life.
Oh, absolutely. My website is real easy. It's http://Kristinabloom.com. All lowercase, real easy to remember.
Simple as that. Well, I appreciate
Yes.
your time and your insights, because I think that that's awesome. Like having the combination of who you are and how you help others, I think is huge, because being able to really learn to get back into your abilities is major.
It is. And right now the world needs it more than ever before because of all the shifting that's going on, people waking up and not understanding what they're going through.
Totally.
In that series, I do an entire class just on ascension symptoms, because it's so important that people understand what they're going through.
I just got goosebumps, because if I wouldn't have had the massive awakening that I did, I wouldn't be able to be here today and being able to embrace it. And
Right.
A lot of people are nervous and scared about it. And all I can say is, and I invite them to just do it. Just who cares what other people are thinking, and just hop on the train, because it's not going anywhere without you.
Exactly. And it's going to go with you whether you're ready or not. So you might as well just embrace it.
Totally. Absolutely. Well, thank you again so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.